What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wes Grand. You're watching Sub Urban Nerd. This is the channel where I give my nerd views on today's nerd news. And boy, do we got so much to talk about today. We got AMC turning Traitor on all the other movie theaters. We got Phil Spencer maybe letting a little bit things leak about maybe an event going on in August with Xbox. We've got the Umbrella Academy and the Batman trailer, and also we've got some the Star Citizens pissed off, the fans pissed off at what's going on with their money, right? Before we start, just like you guys to know, if you like this video, remember to comment down below, tell me what you think about what I'm doing, like the video, and remember to subscribe. Alright, getting into it, right? AMC, and I know this seems like it's gonna be a Wes rant, but it really is, because if you guys don't know, AMC just recently made a deal with Universal Studios for movies to come out 17 days later after the theatrical release and be able to go out on streaming events, like say iTunes, whatever, and be able to do that while still being shown in AMC theaters. So AMC's being okay with movie theaters, not theaters, but the movie studios putting out their content only 17 days after being in the theaters, right? Now, backstory, I'm gonna tell you guys real quick. AMC has been hurting. Like, they're like the little deer or the little cub that's been injured that the lion's trying to just jump on, right? Because AMC, in the past couple years, like say 2 or 3 years, right? They've been making a lot of moves to be on top. Because AMC is the #1 movie theater franchise or company in the world, right? Most theaters all around. And they've been spending money. In fact, they went into a $5 billion deficit, right? Because they've been spending money, but they were spending money smart in the right way. It just didn't work out for them because they were upgrading their theaters to the prime theaters with Adobe. They were buying other theater chains to absorb into them, and also they rolled out the AMC A-list, right? If you guys haven't tried, that was amazing. It's pretty much $25 a month, or when you started it was 21 or something like that a month, and you got to see 3 movies a week, which regular people don't watch it. Like, they watch 3 movies a month, if that. 3 movies a year at most people. But if 3 movies a week and there's no restriction, it could be the Dolby Prime, it could be IMAX, 3D, whatever. You can get to see some special events, maybe like anime ones. Sometimes it wasn't included in there. But other than that, you got 3 movies a week for free, right? Or for the $25 a month subscription service. And that was doing great. In fact, it had just started getting out of the red and getting into the black. So they just started making money. Then what happened? Corona came down. No one's going to the theaters. All this money they spent, they weren't able to make it back because no one's going to the movie theaters. So they're hurting real bad. In fact, they just got a $300 million sort of release to help them because they were in debt. Like, they didn't even know if they're gonna make it to June before, but they got $300 to help them last until the middle of next year, right? Now, while all this is going, people trying to figure out Regal, all the other theaters, they're suffering as well, but they're not suffering as much as AMC because AMC spent so much money to get themselves in a good position, which was smart and it was great. Like I said, no one can predict these things. Now, what Universal has done is gone behind NATO's back. And if you don't know what NATO is North American Association of Theater Owners, right? It's not the military NATO, it's like North American Association of Theater Owners. Now, with them going behind their, like, say, Universal going behind their back, because this mutual destruction, right? Because no theater system, they had a rule. In fact, they tried to do it before when, I think Trolls World Tour came out. They got a lot of backlash, especially from AMC, that you do not put your movies out on the streaming service right away, because we have agreements. Even though the movie theaters aren't open, you gotta talk to us first before you go and release it on the streaming service, because like no, that isn't how it works. We have an agreement. Now, they've been trying to do, other theaters have been trying to do, but Universal mostly. And by them trying to do this, they're trying to make it so they can make as much money as possible. Only problem is, no movie studios make as much in streaming as they do in the theaters. You can't make billions of dollars. Why? Because most of the time, people aren't going to be paying the premium service of like $20 or $30 or whatever, $25 for the movies to be on your TV, some people will, but most people won't. And then also, you don't make as much in the theaters. Like, you make billions of dollars on movies. Movies make close to $1 billion, more than $1 billion. They make all this money. You can't do that on streaming service. Why? Because when you throw the movie onto the streaming service, you're not gaining a lot of more followers that much. You're pretty much just, people are already paid for the service and you're getting the movie for free. Now, AMC had criticized, what was it, Movie Pass a while ago, right? Because it said it wasn't sustainable as far as paying $10 a month for unlimited movies, and it wasn't. Movie Pass just fell apart, and then AMC came out with their own thing, and Regal came out with their own thing right that. So Regal has come out in backlash because everyone feels Traitor that AMC's done this, because AMC's trying to survive, but this isn't the right way. Because think about it like this, right? Movies, the way it works is when a movie comes out, I'm now breaking down a lot of stuff for you. When a movie comes out, say if they spend $100 million, right? That's not including production, right? So you got $100 million, then production, they say like $20 million. So $120 million, right? So people think when a movie makes $120 million, they break on even. No, they don't, because the movie theaters take 1/3 of that, right? So 1/3 of that takes away, and then that's what's left. So you got to make more. You got to make about like 2 times or something like that as far as what the movie costs in order to make a good profit. Now, reason being is because the theaters need to they don't make money off the movie theaters for the most part. They make it off concession stands, right? And with the AMC, with nobody coming in, Regal, they're not hurting as much as them. They are trying to just survive, and it doesn't make sense, because if you go to straight iTunes, say movie, like say Universal, right? They put out a movie, it goes to iTunes. iTunes right off the bat takes that 20%, right? Then if AMC takes 20%, right? And then if like it feels like Universal's trying to get it, so if they get the biggest guy on board, then maybe they can get the smaller ones on board as well, as far as the percentage. But that's not going to work, because if iTunes taking 20%, AMC's taking 20%, Regal, the next biggest one, they're not going to take less than this, so that's 20%. Then all the other smaller theaters, like say 15% altogether, you're looking at 55% taken away. So you're not making the majority of the money back, you're making the minority, the 45%. And that, who's to say that there might be other little fees or something like that? So how are you going to make the money that you normally would? Because they're they're thinking of short term. They're thinking of right now, because the theaters are closed. But if this thing goes, the movie studios are going to try and just go straight. They're going to be like, what's the point of the service? Like, 17 days is a short amount of time. If they try and do this, it's mutual destruction, because why are people, like, say by the second week, most of the movies make their money the first week, second week, maybe third week, whatever. But most of the time it's first and second week, right? If you're about to go to second week and you're like, wait a second, it's going to come out about next week. So why am I going to spend that money? Because you get the people together, spend that $20, $5 each, whatever, at your house. You get like 3 families, you get your group of friends, like say 15, 20, and just watch the latest movie on a streaming service. So how are you going to make that money back? So that's why people just, like, AMC doing this, turning behind their back, like they're like the Traitor, that they're just trying to survive, and then like it just, everybody's dying. Like say even Regal, the main guy at Regal was like, it'll be a cold day in hell before we agree to this thing. So basically, this is null and void, because if they don't agree to it, Universal is not gonna continue the agreement, because if they do this, then that means that none of the other 80% of the theaters are going to be putting their movies out, because that's the agreement. So they'd only be making the money off of AMC when they try and do this thing, and not making another thing. And if Regal doesn't sign up for this, they're gonna be like, what's the point? And don't. So now AMC's basically made themselves look like the Traitor, and when it's not really, the plan is not gonna work. Meanwhile, everybody else is just like, I don't know. It's just not gonna work. So this is the biggest story that you have never heard. Biggest story you've never heard. And I'm just breaking it down to you, right? So I know this, I went on a rant, but that's just, I had to just tell you how everything is. Like this AMC deal, it's ludicrous. It's not going to happen. There's no way. It just can't work. So, going on to the next topic, right? Star Citizen. If you guys haven't heard of Star Citizen, this is online game, right? where you spend money, and it's been like crowdfunded for a while. This game passes like the most expensive game ever created at $360 million, something like that. This is how much they've raised so far and how much they've spent. And the game is not over. It's not done. In fact, it was supposed to be one major game, and then it split off in two. You have your online service, right, which people still kind of play because it's like a beta. I've watched a couple playing of it. It's really immersive, and it looks real detailed and all this. The spaceship, the flying, is great. But also, the way they've been making some extra money is like they'll make ships, and then people will spend real money for these ships. And what fans or the people that fund this are really upset about is there hasn't been any communication in the last like 4 months, right? And this game, there's two parts. There's an online, and then there's this Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is massive. It has so many A-listers that are doing voiceovers in this game that it will blow your minds, right? Here's a list. It has Mark Hamill, Mark Strong, Gillian Anderson, Gary Oldman, John Rhimes Davis, Harry Treadaway, Andy Serkis, Liam Cunningham. Like, yo, the names is crazy that they have in this game, and nobody knows about it. They've had a trailer for this about like a year or something ago, and then they had like 2 years ago there was like a video footage like I think about a good 15 minutes or something like of the storyline, and it just disappeared. And people are upset because they've been spending this money, they haven't been talking back to them. It's like, yo, what's going on? Like, is this game coming out? Because the people at this point that have been funding this, they don't care as long as you communicate with them, they're gonna keep giving money. But a lot of times, some of these people are feeling really down. Like, there've been some tweets that I'm starting to realize that this game is never going to happen. Some people have spent $2,000 on this game, and it's just crazy how much money has been spent that no one's gonna get back on this thing. So I feel sorry for them, but it's just crazy. Now they came out with they came out with a meeting, like a speech or something like that, just coming back because yesterday that's where it kind of blew up. There was this article about them, so now they're responding to this. But they're not responding to the fans, they're responding to the article. So the fans still kind of feel it's shady, but basically what they said is right? They're going to try and do 4 things. Give explanations of goals and roadmaps of what to expect, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is to show rough mock-up of processes of the new roadmap, right? Number 3, share work in progress versions of the roadmap for at least one of their core teams. And then the 4th one is to finally transition to this new roadmap. This is basically a roadmap to a roadmap. This is something that they've done before. They've been like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't said anything. Don't worry. We're gonna start being more, communicative. We're gonna start trying to do more. We kind of work with you, tell you guys what's going on with you and your money," which, could happen. But regardless, people are still wondering when the hell is this game gonna be done. I don't think it's gonna be done anytime soon. This game looks like it's probably gonna be done 2030. Like, that's really just how long this thing. It's been in development for 8 years. In 8 years, Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2 has come out. AAA games are taking longer. The only thing longer than this is probably Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's probably the only thing that's taken longer than this. But except, at least, I mean, I don't know. They showed things, but like the game finally came out. This, you don't know when the hell this come out. Like I said, they keep putting out these little things here and there to make more money as far as selling these ships and selling these little things for the online. But the main core story is what people have been spending money on with the Mark Strong and Mark Hamill that people want to see that it's just not happening. So, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's pretty much it. Going on to the next one, right? Was it Phil Spencer? He just went online. He spoke a little bit about the backwards compatibility and how there's going to be something to showcase it. Of how it's working, how the development's actually going with it, and he probably slipped away, and he didn't realize maybe, but some people found out maybe there might be an August event going on with Xbox, which, hey, makes sense. Xbox has been, they said from the beginning they wanted to do every month an event pretty much to just keep people in the loop, to show people what's going on, as opposed to PlayStation where it kind of held back, waited, showed everything at once, and then just stepped back again, right? So we'll see what's going to go on with that. There's not too much information, but he just says there's going to be something that probably is going to be showing up in August, which understandable, probably like August 21st, August, something around that time. That's probably when it's going to pop off, right? All right, and then there was an event, right, in Europe or Turkey or something like that, where what's his name? The guy in charge of Valve, right? The CEO of Valve, Gabe Newell, right? He was in an interview where people asked him. This is relating also to Xbox. That how does he feel about what's the strongest console, right? What's gonna be the strongest console? And like, which one are you gonna get? And then he pretty much was like, Xbox. And then people were like, why? Like, cause it's better. That's pretty much what, and the internet's blown up, and I think it's because this guy is just more focused on specs. Xbox, yes, spec-wise, it might show that it's better, but it's not just about specs when it comes to these new consoles. It's also about games. It's about how it runs, because PlayStation, somehow, they're making it so there's no loading time. So there might be loading time with the Xbox. You might be able to run at a higher frame rate and higher and all this, but it's that if there's no loading, and it's just smooth transitions, people might go with that. But also, I think it's because the PlayStation has more immersive. The DualSense controller, the 3D sound, everything, they're trying to make this the most immersive. Meanwhile, Xbox is just focused on, sort of like the way they do with their PCs is, oh, we just got this strong upgrade hardware, and you can play it across cross panels, like cross generations. They're focused more on making it so that their Xbox Live and their streaming event, because I guess they're sort of looking towards the forward. They said that they're not worried about Nintendo or PlayStation. They're more worried about the Stadia and Apple games or whatever. Which I thought was kind of crazy, but it seems like they're more going towards that route as far as what they're going to be doing as far as moving forward. They're focused on making it so that they have their own kind of streaming service where you can play on all mobile devices their games and all these things, which, hey, that might work out for them in the end, you know, like who knows? Because they've been behind in the console wars, and this might bring them right up there next to everyone thinking towards the future and not just thinking about games. But Gabe Newell, that's probably why he said that. He's not thinking about, because like he's that type of guy. That's what Valve does. They're with streaming service. They're with games. That's what they do. So PlayStation, they don't work too much with Play. They've worked more on hands and better with Xbox, right? And then the last thing is these trailers, dog. Umbrella Academy, it was one of those sleeper hits that you didn't know you wanted to see, right? They just popped out a trailer, looks awesome. The song playing, the nuclear explosion at the end. I'm just saying, watch it. Maybe I'll put the link down below for you guys to check it out. And then Batman, Death in the Family. If you guys haven't seen Batman Under the Red Hood, that is probably one of the best animated movies of all time. And now they're redoing it, but they're doing it like what they did in the comics before, where you could vote on what things to do. Whether you want Jason Todd to die, maybe you want him to survive, maybe you want Batman to save him, maybe you want Jason Todd to save himself, maybe you want him just to die, you want him to kill this person, is Red Hood, you want him to do this, Red Robin, I don't know. This looks major crazy. I've never dealt with an interactive movie because I didn't watch that movie on with the Blacklist or something like that on Netflix, so I don't know how that works, so I don't know how this is gonna work. I'm looking forward to it because DC animated movies, I'm down for it. I love them, and we'll see how that works out, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. So that's pretty much it. So I know this video's long. Maybe I'll cut it up a little bit. Maybe I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. But I'm just saying, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for comment down below if you liked, or if you have any want to talk about any of the topics I talked about. If you want to know a little bit more about the topics I talked about, just ask me and I'll get right back to you. Thank you for watching. Like this video, subscribe, and remember, I'm Wes Grant. You've been watching Sup Urban Nerd, and you've just been notified. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.